Hello, Maxwell I Gold. Are you excited to have the final event of Halloween in July?
No, I wish it was going on longer. No, I am.
Unsubscribe. Goodbye, Max. Anyways, sorry, I'm
How
just kidding.
rude. No, I am. I am excited. It's been wonderful to see all the support for the HWA scholarship programs, um, and I am very excited to get into some poetry tonight. This is Battle of the Poets. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Surprise, everybody.
Surprise.
Be battling.
No, you shouldn't leave Angela and I together because then nothing gets done. No, I'm very excited to have all of our poets here to hear some great poetry tonight, and all in support of our scholarship programs. So donations will still be available. People can still donate until the end of August as well. But yeah, so without further ado, Angela, unless you have anything else you want to say, I mean, we can just get into
Yeah.
some poetry.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what the scholarships, the funds go towards, and how much have we raised? And we're still pushing. We're still on a big push, right? And I'm sharing the link right now for the donations.
Yeah. So this is for our first annual Halloween in July fundraiser. So this goes to benefit all of our scholarship programs, which include the diversity grants, the scholarship from Hell, the Dark Poetry scholarship for nonfiction. So all of the funds raised, we raised about $3,200 right now, which is wonderful. So that is primarily what the funds raised here go to support, um, and to help amplify new and current voices in horror fiction, the horror genre. So that's primarily what this is supporting.
Awesome. All right. So if you guys feel the love and you love poetry and you love the HWA, which we know you do because you're here, consider going to that link and giving a pledge, even if it's like a $5 pledge, a $10 pledge. We're on the last push for funding. So we're very excited to get this over with. I mean, to support these things. Well, let's bring on our first poet because people did not come here to listen to us jibber jabber about our nonsense. We're going to start with Ro Morgan. Ro Morgan dreams up her dark tales while driving through California's Sierra Nevada foothills, but it's her time spent in more remote locales, the soaring peaks of Colorado, the windswept plains of Wyoming, the mysterious Carpathian mountains of Romania, that provides the settings for her stories and opens the door into hidden worlds filled with seductive, lethal creatures and the secret lives they lead. A past winner of the International Vampire Film and Arts Festival, Silver Stake Award, Ro recently released Monster, a prequel of The Chosen, the fifth book of her supernatural suspense series, The Chosen. So now let's go ahead and hear from Ro. We will give Ro the floor and we will vanish for a little while.
Thank you. I appreciate being able to be here, and I will go ahead and that was a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I'll talk a little bit more about what The Chosen is about. This is a series that focuses on a woman who's torn away from her family and forced to adapt to life as a vampire, and her struggles with both human and vampire society. There's 3 novels and 2 accompanying novellas that deal with other characters that are in the main novels. The poetry that I'm going to be reading tonight is from The Chosen Laments, which is a collection of vampire poems written for the Chosen series. This first one, O Sweet Carpate, is an ode to the Carpathian Mountains, where one of the characters originates. O sweet Carpati, with your cool, gentle breezes and star-dusted skies, rocky peaks mantled in shimmering silken snow, made bright by moon's rise, green velveteen flanks laced with crystal streams rushing, trees dance, The wind sighs. Oh, sweet Carpate, with your cool, gentle breezes and star-dusted skies, I long for your kiss, your stone arms holding me tight, safe from bright sun's rise. This poem is called Fading. The sky dulls, its bloom fading, fading, beneath the creeping night. Evening's silken caress on skin sliding, sliding, bringing the blood to life. Bright eyes hide as dark wakens, wakens, stalking their fragile light. A woman smiles, her heart racing, racing, ending in passion's cry. The shadow mourns, his love paling, paling, within arms holding tight. Heaven calls, her soul flying, flying, from he who cannot die. Once again the sky dulls, its bloom fading, fading, fading. This next poem is called I Remember. I remember nights of darkness, darkness of the soul. I remember nights of frenzy, frenzy beyond control. I remember nights of red thirst unending. I remember nights of death, death unchanging. I also remember finding my love, finding myself, but mostly I remember losing my love, losing myself. Once again, I remember nights of darkness, darkness of my soul. This poem is called Without You. The wind whispers your name, a song drifting through the air. I cannot listen without you. The sun kisses my skin like the heat of your touch. I cannot feel without you. The sky echoes the blue of your eyes, their image peering into my soul. I cannot see without you. You live wild and free without me. I cannot live trapped and broken without you. Soulless ones. They say we have no souls, no life, no love. But how can soulless ones live so brightly, love so deeply, if we have no souls? They say we have no feelings, no pity, no remorse. But how can one empty of feelings let pity stay the hand, no remorse with every step, if we have no feelings? They say we are monsters, governed by need, driven by lust. But how are we monsters, if all have need and all feel lust, when all are monsters to another? They say we have no souls, then why do soulless ones feel love so strongly, so fully, feel loss so bitterly, so utterly, if we have no souls? And this final one is called The Chosen Lament. To love is to live, to see the world through another's eyes, to feel the world through another's joy. But when time steals that love from you, and the world grows dark and filled with pain, then perhaps it is better not to love at all. Thank you very much for listening to my chosen lament poems. And I think that they posted in the chat my different websites at romorgan.com. I also have a Facebook group called The Chosen Crew, and you can, of course, find me on Amazon. Thank you again.
Well, that was awesome. I think those Carpathian mountains have done her well. I enjoyed that. And so has the...
So we'll just go into our next our next poet. Our next poet is Pixie Bruner. Pixie Bruner is a writer, poet, academic presenter, and educator, cervical cancer patient advocate, and electronic musician. She lives in Atlanta, Georgia, with her male doppelganger, and can usually be found with cats, caffeine, reference, and horror books within reach. Don't we all need those within reach? I have them on either side of me right now. So
Awesome. All right. I guess we'll bring on Pixie Bruner.
Hi, I've not done a poetry reading since literally 1989. I'm very nervous, so let's just go. I'm going to be reading 2 pieces tonight, and the first one is called Like Ginsberg. Tonight, I am in the haunted house. Like Ginsberg, I say the Kaddish for my mother, singing the Hebrew mourner's prayer in her same hoarse alto, with her brown eyes, with her hair, and with her complexion. I light the yard-site candle I bought in the kosher section of the Winn-Dixie that only stretches my arms with. She died on October Friday the 13th. This is an October Friday the 13th. Tonight, I am a haunted house. I stayed with her corpse while the step bastard got the paramedics, begging, "Mommy, don't leave me. I still need you. Don't leave me." I hadn't called her mommy in years. Suddenly, I was younger when Papa, Daddy, and my mom died. I was suddenly a child, that loving daughter, that good little girl. All rebelliousness gone, no more breaking free, that disease of all 17-year-olds. Tonight, I am haunted. I closed her eyes, but they popped open and they were my eyes. They wouldn't stay closed. I didn't have 2 coins to pay her fare. I sat numb in the hospital while they tagged and wrote her up. The sun rose. My cousin took me to Denny's. Don't leave me. I still need you. Don't leave me. I still say that. Tonight is her anniversary. Aunt Nettie's ghost, nor hers, has no rocking chair here. My family always had ghosts and welcomed them. Come haunt me. Let them come, I say. This cheap little candle lights her way to torture me. A parade of ghosts comes tonight, and they do not scare me. Candles light the way home of all my lost loved ones. Daddy, we can play together with Greg's Matchbox car collection. Mama, I need your recipe for Jewish apple cake. Papa, let's paint a watercolor of my balcony view. Aunt Nettie, I need your expertise on red lingerie. 24 hours of remembrance, 34 years of a life after. You've all haunted me all my life. I am now older than both my parents ever were. Mommy, no. Lois, I loved you, but you were no god to whom my life should be a shrine. Though I have your voice, intellect, gestures, and body, I am so much more than just your daughter, a Xerox of you. Let this ink bleed and stain these fingers. I have been released. My next poem will be Murder Paradoxia. This is an erasure poem by going through the book spines. Part 1. Noir, dark places, white jazz, clock for a heart, books of blood, pulled up with a helpless lush, I married Rasputin. Confidential Paradoxia. For lunch, the blue hammer, pure pulp. Juicy, sweet, forbidding, strange fruit. The wall through the road. For dessert, the Dane, damn curse was big knowledge. The continent to the street corner, the blonde, Black Friday. The moon shoots the piano player, post-literate wonderland, high culture electric gumbo, fear and loathing of endless love, the man in the woods said, farewell, my lovely. The big window of murder, the big sleep, the good bye. The grifters heed the thunder, now and on earth, nothing more than murder. Part 2. A man of mucho mojo in a vanilla ride cockfights another woman chaser in the shark-infested custard mountains of madness. The exegesis so someone owes me money. The zap gun, please, Dr. Blood Money. Masks of the Illuminati fall off to reveal Schrodinger's cat eating a naked lunch. Guilty secrets from the chocolate war. Flow my tears. The body was found in lot 49, the policeman says. Travels unnaturally cold in July. Now wait for last year. Thank you very much, and please give to the HWA Scholarship Fund.
Wow, that was awesome. Are you muted? Or are you just quiet?
No, I'm speechless, and then that's really hard for me. I mean, Pixie is actually a student in our class, our poetry class, and we I read that first poem, and I love that poem. I don't have anything else to say. It's a beautiful. The first poem it's a beautiful poem.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of good feedback in the chat too. And sorry, I think you were lagging, Max, so I wasn't trying to like put you on the spot with like, why are you not saying anything? There's actually enough feedback that I think everybody's just shown up. I may have been double sharing some comments because they're jumping a little bit fast. And I hope I didn't miss anybody's comment. But yeah, beautiful. I think I just shared myself. So, I want to hear from myself. Next, we're going to have Sumiko Salson, which I'm very excited about. We all know Sumiko from the HWA. She is the genius behind all our social media for the HWA. And I pulled the bio off of the website for Sumiko. Sumiko Salson, who goes by the pronouns they, them, or z, her, is an award-winning author of Afro-surrealist and multicultural sci-fi and horror, whose latest novel, Happiness and Other Diseases, is available on Mocha Memoirs Press. And I wanted to bring up that I pulled this off the internet because I think their last collection is actually from the Bram Stoker's.
Yes, so the Rat King.
Yeah. I was actually like, should I let them mention it or should we? I think we'll let them talk about it more. But yes, so we have a celebrity, winner of also the Carry the Light Foundation second place Sci-Fi Short Story Award, HWA Scholarship from Hell, and I think that's where I met Sumiko. BCC Voice Reframing the Other contest in 2017. And there's actually quite a lot of awards on here. And the HWA Richard Lehman Award for Service in 2021, which I do remember that acceptance speech. That was awesome. So yeah, if you don't have anything else to add, I'm going to bring Sumiko on. What do you think?
No, I love hearing them read. So it's one of the things I look forward to, especially when Linda has her poetry readings at StokerCon. So
yeah, awesome. All right. I will bring Sumiko on and we will listen to some more beautiful and wonderful and amazing and terrifying, which I love, poetry.
Okay, cool. Hi, my name is Sumiko Salson. I use pronouns they, them, and z, here is actually how you pronounce that. And yes, the Rat King, a book of dark poetry, was nominated for a Bram Stoker Award in the poetry collection category. So it is a finalist for that award. And it is also nominated for an Elgin Award. So that's great. But I'm not going to be reading from it. I'm going to be reading from an unpublished book of poetry called Melancholia. And it might be a chapbook. We'll see if it's a full book. And also I want to say that Please do donate money to the HWA. Programs like the Scholarship from Hell, which was a grant that I received, and the Diversity Grant, which I also received. They really help to get new voices in poetry out into the world. So, obviously back in 2016, when I got the Scholarship from Hell, I was still a baby horror writer. So they help people. Okay, so this is gonna be a ghost story, but it's kind of like an AI ghost story. It's called Raise Your Hands If You Love Tupac, Raise Your Hands If You Love Zoloft. You didn't understand. Mic drop, but it's still in your hand. Full stop. Coachella ghost on stage. Hip hop making records from the grave. Lyrical your poetry. Sanguine threads of legacy. Like a bullet through your brain. Or the death of Kurt Cobain. Tried it out on the TV. That's sick. Gen X Ghost of NMC. Netflix. These bones are all that's left. Flesh rots from our husks. We've now been cleft. Blood clots. Sucking meaning from our death. No shit. Every martyr is a hit. That's it. Both Tupac and Kurt Cobain. That's right. Gen X screaming from our pain all night. Gen X hitting all the clubs. Dungeon hopping rub-a-dubs, sip champagne in our hot tubs, get out the car, no time for scrubs. Someone pass the Seroquel, I'm ill. Give me Milo-Cinepril, let's chill. Gen X skidding, old as hell. Oh well, cake on makeup, I won't tell. Okay, that was that poem. Here's a different kind of ghost story. And this one is called Child on the Lawn. Those responsible for his death cringed in fear on the day that the child on their lawn did appear. Was his hair in cornrows or a fuzzy black crown? Were there tears in his eyes when he held his head down? Some of us keep histories, the tales of our tribe. Oral legends intertwine with the parts of our mind containing genetic memory of the trauma we've shared, grievous wounds to our psyches handed down by forebears. They say that the child on the lawn is one of those such things. When tears well in his dead eyes, then the living's eyes sting, and the weight that he brings down upon their hearts is hard to bear. The ghost of the tragedies our ancestors endured has escaped through our wounds. Now he's walking the streets. Through the guilty, though the guilty may hide, their sanity is unwound by the sound of his telltale heartbeat. Those who injured him grievously cower in fear, terrified that the child on the lawn will appear. When the child on the lawn waved his fabulous wand, playing games with his fervent imagination, weaving tales without jails, where he play and run free. Did they grow terrified, mistake it for a gun? Did they call the police on someone's 12-year-old son? Now the ghost on their lawn is enacting his rage, clammy hands clawing up as he climbs from the grave, craving equity as he did in life, when his enemies told tales with their backstabbing knives, the same bigoted tales that they told in his life, weaving stories to ensure his kin would not survive, calling him super predator, fettering him in chains, tossing his corpse out on a pauper's fire heap of remains. Now the child on the lawn sings his frightening songs, threatening to overcome and also carry on. How they cower in their homes, afraid to walk at night alone, for fear of his reverberant hum. It amasses it as it is carried down the line by the other children as they hand in hand and their feet beat in time, making sounds that amound, billowing over their heads, for you cannot escape the protests of the dead. Okay. Is that 10 minutes, or am I supposed to continue reading things? I should be better at maths. Okay, they didn't kick me off, so I think I'll find another poem, but maybe one that's not as long. Yeah. Okay. I think that this is one of the ones that's going to be in the horror zine, upcoming horror zine. It's called Mercurial Creature. A deep-seated growling, a threatening purr. Haunches rise under hackles of electric fur. I in servitude offer flesh in a bowl. Vigorously I stroke you, pet names I extol. Hissing and crouching, your tail growing stiff, you complain as you paw at the feast in your dish. I see the disdain as I look in your eye and remember your kind might eat me when I die. I run and fetch your favorite toy, a string tipped with a bell and a gray mouse-shaped ball. For a moment you engage, but soon tire of it all. Your fury is adorable, as you are so small. If you dispel to grow larger, the tables you'd turn, I'd pay for this bowl of cold food you have spurned. We worshiped you in temples, you haven't forgotten. You're tired of this restaurant, the service is rotten. My offerings, many you hold in disdain. I hear my bones cracking as blood starts to drain, flesh stripped from my bones as you engage in your feast. For the last time, providing a meal to my beast. That is for my cat Marla. Yeah, so remember to give money to the Horror Writers Association. I think that they've probably provided a link where you can go and you can give money, and then people get scholarships, and then um, they'll continue to churn out um, bits from their lurid and perverse imaginations. How can it happen without your help? That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. Okay. Is that 10 minutes now? Okay, wait.
All right, Samika, I was like, okay, I'm not going to keep you suffering anymore. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
especially
wonderful. Especially the
Yeah.
last poem. I love the last one.
I know. I always love listening to Sumiko, especially the whole what did she accuse everybody of? Our lurid and wet poems. Like that is spot on.
So
Wow.
we're our next poet, Kathy Burkett, lives in Florida with her husband, her cat, and the ghosts of her dogs. So without further ado, Kathy Burkett.
Hello, my name's Kathy Burkett. I'm also a student in the poetry class along with Pixie, and I just want to say thanks to Max and Angela for having us here. I'm going to read 3 short poems from a chapbook I did back in 2011 called Into the Electric Sunset, and I think I gave Angela a link to the website. This first one is called Alone in a Room. She was in a room with other odd things, sitting in a wooden chair painted blue, which sat on a wooden floor painted nothing, which sat on something not visible. Her back was to a window, her head under a popcorn ceiling. A pink plastic tea set spread out on the floor, all of the cups filled with invisible tea. A teddy bear and a porcelain doll propped against a sealed cardboard box. Other unopened boxes cluttered the room. She began talking to the closed closet doors. Hello? Hello? Am I alone? Say anything, please. Anything? Hello? Hello? The closet kept shut. The boxes were sealed. Bear and doll were mute. The ceiling was silent. She turned to the window, hoping to see something. Nose to the glass, she looked through the transparency and saw nothing. She couldn't understand this nothingness. She screamed, a long howl of frustration, piercing siren of madness. The window shattered, fell away, and still she saw nothing. She leaned out head first, then a little farther, then too far. She fell into a maze of blackness and flickering stars. Hello, said the bear. Yes, hello, said the doll. Hello, said the chair. And all of the boxes began to hum. This next one is called Mad Scientist. Break, he yells, hammer crashing, smashing a flashlight, trying to see where the light comes from by breaking it apart. The mysterious power of stars and the odd coldness of technological progress. Nothing is illuminated just now. Waiting for light to emerge from darkness, the immaculate birth of an angel. Disembodied songs of sonic rainbows, hum of pure energy. His flesh vibrates with music so loud he fails to hear it. What am I? He hollers, hurtling a large calculator into his backwards image across the room. He wants to see what he's made of. His face disintegrates into slivers of glass. His hands bleed ketchup red, fingering shards of his former face. Human soup stains his fingers, licking bloody, sweaty palms as he drains out of himself. Iron and salt shocking his tongue, bitter cake batter grossly underdone. He gets cold, shivering from too much science. He covers himself with unyielding pieces of glass and darkness thrown together into an awkward quilt. His eyeballs roll back into the comfort of his skull, covering their backsides with twin blankets of skin. Too much light. The sun is a big flashlight, forcing him to squint. He's in a field of pink sheep. He's a contestant on a game show, and he knows all the answers. All of the questions are bad jokes. There's a silent laugh track in the background. And this last one is called Vacuuming the Void. Surreal has the unfortunate task of vacuuming the void on a constant basis. Any small particle that enters the void has to be removed promptly so that the void's emptiness remains unblemished. Surreal is a plain-looking fellow with no eyes, ears, nose, mouth, or any corporeal form to speak of. Every moment of his existence is spent pushing an invisible vacuum through the void with his non-existent hand, sucking everything into invisibility. Every page of his diary is blank and completely transparent. He thinks of nothing all day long. It is this singular thought that sustains him. Thanks for having me.
Those are
Wow.
wonderful.
Yeah. I love that we've had students show up from the
Mhm.
class that we've been teaching together, along with our next poet, and Jamal Hodge, but he's not here today, so we won't really talk about him. But yes, our next poet is Colleen Anderson, and the students that we're referring to are from the Crystal Lake Publishing poetry class. It has a longer title. I can't remember what it is, but that's it. You can fill that in.
Yeah.
Feel free to fill that in for me. Our next poet, and I'm so excited that we did this. We should do this all the time. I mean, not next weekend, but soon. Our next
not
poet.
Tomorrow? No,
not tomorrow. We could do tomorrow. I'll give you all the links, and you just go right ahead. Our next poet will be Colleen Anderson, who is also a said teacher that is also teaching with us in that poetry class, of which shall be unnamed because I cannot remember the whole name. But it is from Crystal Lake. Colleen Anderson is an Aurora Rising, Dwarf Star, and Elgin Award nominee with work published in 7 countries in such venues as Andromeda Spaceways, Space and Time, I've heard of them, the award-winning Shadow Atlas, and Water, Siren, Selkies, and Sea Monsters. Her poem, Machine, parentheses, Our Evolution or Revolution, is part of Tenebris Press's 223 Brave New World. She lives in Vancouver, BC, but we like her anyways. And she's a Ladies of Horror Fiction Canada Council and BC Arts Council grant recipient. She's the author of 2 fiction collections, Embers Amongst the Fallen and a Body of Work, and 2 poetry collections, I Dreamed a World, and the newly released and really awesome, because it was published by Yuriko Publishing, which I also know, The Lore of Inscrutable Dreams. And if you want to get in touch with Colleen, I will be sharing her website in the chat, but it's colleenanderson@wordpress.com. And without any further ado, unless you have anything you want to add, we'll bring on Colleen. Do you want to add anything?
No.
Your screen is frozen for me, so I don't want to just kick you off, but okay. Yeah. All right, we're going to bring on Colleen Anderson.
And I was muted, so we're just kind of making up what I was actually saying. It's Crystal Lake's Author's Journey is what we were talking about, the poetry course. So I'm going to read from The Lore of Inscrutable Dreams with this lovely, awesome cover put out by awesome Yuriko Publishing. And also I came fresh from being in the streamed Aurora Awards where I was nominated for a poem, but I did not win. I'm still a bridesmaid. And I'm going to read a few poems from this. First one is Wishbone. Touch the divergent bone nesting in your breast, that hunger to converge, focus aspirations, even if never sure of choices. I live on a busy street, letting the car go by. In which bone roosts hopes and dreams, marrow deep, that can make you whole, engender your greatest need. Seek the hollow bones of birds, buoyed by air, the breath of a thought, consume flight's flesh, absolve the earth that waits you. For the wish to take hold, split the bone housed close to the heart, a bird's last flight, grounded. Press the fragment's edge deep into your chest. Understand the cost, birds flensed to attain your power. The contract with the material you must relinquish. Let go of the pain that came before, so that you rise up, fly free of desire. And I do apologize. I live on a very busy street, so there's roaring cars going by, and I hope it doesn't muffle too much. Next poem is Magic Carpet. Did anyone think about cleaning advice for carpets stained with enchanted detritus? The silt from 1,000 journeys, discarded crumbs from clandestine trysts, Jetsam from unloading secret treasure, flotsam of flying too high in the jet stream, or the occasional queasy passenger's ejections, vertiginous from a magical evening. When it comes to upkeep of charmed relics, one must use caution and skill. Shampooing can dilute the power, bring bumpy rides flying under the radar. Vacuuming out gritty particulates may cause sudden buoyancy, send the carpet whooshing into power lines, short-circuiting its utility, except for causing blackouts. Beating the rug brings a certain backlash where one finds themselves burrito-rolled into a ride, jettisoned over a cliff. Vigorous shaking out initiates ripples, shockwaves that eventually propel riders into the sky to make it on their own, or find authorities knocking down doors for clear abuse of sentient rugs. For this reason are magic carpets rare. Caution and thaumaturgic finesse often an equal toil between taming fibers and washing out blood spills, splashed wine, dried mud, and esoteric effluvia that infests whoever does the cleaning with frayed enchantments, sticky charms, and rashes cursed to never leave. And I am going to read Baba Yaga's Hut. Masked in weathered tears, Baba Yaga haunts the streets, as well as lonely parks where children shouldn't wander and vagrants never linger. The chicken-footed hut disguised as her cart wobbles to and fro, the disembodied clucking cloaked by creaky wheels. It's time to find a meal, fill the belly and the larder. Baba Yaga lures children, promises a wild buggy ride once they accept her chrome-curved back, her cackle, candies in the palm. They ignore the price of broken rules. One spin behind shade-draped bushes where she wrenches tender limbs, cracks green bones, sucks the marrow smothered by grumbling traffic. The world drowns their screams. She stores the meaty joints, peruses recipes for savory stews, as her hut becomes a tesseract, dark inclinations, fungal blooms within. Bent on roaming, ever-gathering stock, prisoners seasick secure they won't escape, the laden foot stabilizes. Her lodging sated, roosting, until Baba Yaga prowls again. Her hut stalking as it follows. I'm going to squeeze in a teeny weeny last poem from the Dwarf Stars anthology, which is Poems Under Pen Lines nominated. A whole bunch of lovely poems, and you can read this in a very short time. And this will take but a breath. Butterfly Effect, Possibilities Garden, Schrodinger's Cat Leaps. And I end with that, so we can tie in all those cats. And do, if you can, spare a few bucks towards the scholarships. As in my bio, I have been honored with several different scholarships in Canada, and also with I think it was half a scholarship from Hell for StokerCon 1 year. So they do help people, and you don't have to be a member. Thank you.
Sorry, I was being attacked by a chihuahua. So it took me a second. That was awesome, Colleen. Thank you so much for reading all those. So, especially from that one excellent book, The Lure of Inscrutable Dreams. I mean, personally, I really just seem to love that one. Especially, I don't know, I might have some bias towards it.
Just a little bit. A little bit.
Well, who do we have up next? And this is going great. Everybody's poems are fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do this tomorrow, right?
Yeah, you are. Sure. Go right ahead.
Our next poet is Brianna Malotki, and I apologize if I have butchered that name. Is a member of the Horror Writers Association and co-chair for the Seattle chapter. So wonderful to have some chapter co-chair here. She has more than 90 pieces published, with her most recent work found in Darktown, the Nottingham Horror Collective, and Horoscope, a Zodiac anthology. You can find more of her work in the anthology's Beautiful Tragedies too. The Dire Circle, Their Ghoulish Reputation, Holiday Leftovers, and Under Her Skin. In August 2023, her debut horror poetry collection, Fashion Trends, Deadly Ends, was released with Green Avenue Books. For more, you can check out her website, and I believe Angela will put this, so you put it right there, MalotkiWrites.com. And then without further ado, let's get to some more poetry.
All right, let's hear from Brianna, who's going to probably scold you for butchering her name if you did. Yep. I hope she does. Please scold Brianna. He needs it. And you're muted.
Yes. So very close, if not correct, Brianna Malotki. And I am going to read some of my poems from my book that just came out. Other side, over here. And so the first one I'm going to read is called Shake Me Down Death. And it's inspired by mercury poisoning in hat makers. And so here I go. These vibrations shake me to the core. It seems as if my soul is trembling on, yet I continue work, more and more. Making hats all day long, time long gone, until my fingers are weak and my mind more paranoid, I'll sleep until dawn. The next day arrives, I feel blind from the shaking, my head unsteady now. As my hands shake the hats, well defined, made from rabbit, I silently vow. I close my eyes and I whisper out loud, for when death comes for me, I won't bow. To him or show fear, he'll need be proud of my hats and my work and of my strength. Death will need to speak my name aloud. To wake me from this life as my mind wanders, I'm fearful now, and he'll need to shake me down before he takes me blind. And then another piece from the book that I'm going to read is called Twirling in Tulle, and it's inspired by 19th century ballerina tutus that were made with a very, very thick tulle, and so they were stiffened and used starched and often caught on fire. So around and around they twirl, their slender silhouettes casting elegant shadows against the hand-painted backdrops. As the flames flicker from the front, the glow against the dancers, clad in tulle skirts and not much else, the girls continue to pirouette and leap across the stage to music and the admiration of the crowd until the screams of a ballerina echo sharply throughout the theater, and the crowd shouts for water as the smoke billows throughout. Around and around she twirls, trying to put the fire out as the tulle in her skin melts. Burned to a crisp, the newspapers will write, but still everyone will come to the next show, the dead easily replaced. And then the last poem I'm going to read is actually from the last edition of the Nottingham Horror Collective's Zine. And so it's inspired by the Fool tarot card. Oh, I wish my background wasn't blurred. You would see it. Okay. Dave sat alone, waiting for a sign from the heavens to magically appear. He was about to leave the park, the darkness creeping over, when a tall figure, clad in a floor-length robe and pink hat, emerged from the woods offering him words of hope. Dave saw his chance, and he took a leap of faith. He blindly trusted the fool. As he shared his first issue, the jester declared it was an easy fix, and so they traveled to the home of a nosy neighbor. Dave wasn't ready for what would come next, and as the fool cut their tongue out, blood spewing about, Dave too was silenced. A bad start, but not the end. Leaving the first mistake behind them, the blood-soaked duo went to tackle the dispute of a coworker stealing Dave's promotion. Despite the first grisly scene, he believed the fool understood the problem this time, but as the knife came down over Sal's hands, Dave thought that perhaps the fool didn't hear well. Third time's a charm, the fool eagerly agreed with him. When his soulmate left him for another, Dave swore he'd win her heart back. Blinded by love, he trusted the figure in the dark crimson robes. The sight of her heart forcefully pulled out by blood-stained skeleton fingers, too much for him. Loud laughter from the fool, his sinister smile even wider now. drowning out Dave's screams. As the weight of the evening's events hit him, Dave questions his judgment, as he should, for Dave trusted a skeleton figure with his dilemmas and took a leap of faith for love. All he has now is chaos and blood spatter. Perhaps it's best not to trust the man wearing a jester's hat, wielding a head on a stick. And yeah, that is it for me. Thank you, and support the HWA.
Very, very, very excellent.
It was wonderful. I especially like the top hat one. I'm a big
Yeah.
Lewis Carroll fan, big Alice in Wonderland fan. So I like the reference to how top hats drive you insane. Well, they used to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because of the lead. Not top
Yeah,
hats as a style. Hats will make you sane, I feel like. Just as a hat person. So, I guess it's me introducing. I'm trying to catch up on comments. There's been so much support and comments. It's fantastic. Everybody is loving all these readings. Next up, we have E.E. King, an award-winning painter, performer, writer, and naturalist. She'll do anything that won't pay the bills, my kind of person, especially if it involves animals. All right. I already love E.E. King. I knew that I did, but now I especially do because she admits that. Like, she's just upfront with that. Ray Bradbury called her stories marvelously inventive, wildly funny, and deeply thought-provoking. She's been published in over 100 magazines and anthologies, including Clark's World, Daily Science Fiction, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Short Edition, and Flame Tree. Her novels include Dirk Quigby's Guide to the Afterlife, All You Need to Know is to Choose the Right Heaven. All you need to know to choose the right heaven. Sorry, I don't know why my words don't work sometimes. It's when they come out of my mouth that they just utterly fail. And several short story collections. Her stories are on Tangent's 2019, 2020, and 2022's Year's Best Stories. She's been nominated for a Riesling and several Pushcart Awards. She's shown paintings at LACMA, and I hope she explains what that is, but I think it has something to do with LA. And painted murals. She also co-hosts the Long Lost Friends show. Hey, that could be us, Max. Like when I decide I don't like you anymore because you get me involved in things like Halloween in August. And you don't know what I'm talking about? No. Okay, I'll remind you after this show. And Metastellar Story Time, which sounds very cool. She spends summers doing bird rescue and winters planting coral in Bonaire. Check out paintings, writing, musings, and books at ElizabethEveKing.com. And I will be sharing links, including her. See, it's the words. They come out of the mouth and they utterly collapse. I will be sharing those links in the chat, is what I was trying to say in a very simple way. But without any further ado, let's hear from E.E. King.
Oh, good. I came on automatically. I wasn't sure if I had to enter the room. What was it? Oh, LA LACMA. It's the LA County Museum of Modern Art. So that's LACMA. And the first poem I'm going to read is called Signs That the World May Be Ending or Making Pink Lemonade. But actually, before I read it, let me just say the poetry readings have been fabulous. So congratulations, all you poets who have read so far. So Signs That the World May Be Ending or Making Pink Lemonade was nominated for a Riesling Award in 2018, but I lost to Neil Gaiman. So hold on, now I have to get there. You're walking down the street. A man wearing a white t-shirt that says life hands you something. It is round, it is yellow. It smells like summer, like weddings, like fields, like bees, like hot alcohol-less toddies. You miss the alcohol. You enter a department store. A man wearing a gray fedora and heavy glasses approaches. His glasses are cracked, held together by masking tape. What year is it, he asked. His voice is shrill, accented, like the whine of a foreign mosquito. You wonder if mosquitoes have nationalities, if they are patriotic, jingoistic, xenophobic. Only the female bites. She needs blood, protein to make babies, to nurture her young. The males are vegetarians, flower suckers, fruit eaters. You tell him the year. It's 2017. It worked, he says. He raises his arms in a V, holding them wide, holding them heavenward, as if hoping to catch a falling baby. He rushes outside. You see him buy dozens of newspapers, hungrily, greedily, as if he needs them, like protein, to feed his babies, to nurture his young. You walk past a store, it reads just tires. You wonder if that means only tires or righteous tires. You wonder if tires have souls. The Jains believe everything has a soul, even rocks, even tires, but not just tires. You wonder if anything has a soul. You are cynical. You are driving home. 3 semis block your view. You cannot see the horizon. You cannot see the way ahead. One of the semi's doors fly open. A million yellow fruit tumble out like small oblong cold suns. They bounce along the freeway, squishing beneath the wheels, smelling like summer, like weddings, like fields, like bees, like hot alcoholless toddies. You miss the alcohol. Their flesh makes the road slick. Tires screech, not just tires, but also brakes. Gears, horns. People shriek in high, shrill voices like mosquitoes. The other semis skid and slide. They weave like drunken behemoth, like dancing hippos. They swerve toward each other. Doors crash open. White crystals spill out, hard as sand, fine as hope, glittering like snow, smelling like dreams, tasting like toothache. The doors of the third semi open. Bodies cartwheel out. They rise heavenward, up, 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 floating like seeds in the wind, weightless as anticipation. The woman in the car ahead shrieks, "Rapture, rapture!" Her voice is shrill, the high-pitched whine of a southern mosquito. She raises her arms in a V, holding them wide, holding them heavenward as if expecting to catch a falling baby. She lets go the steering wheel. "Jesus, don't leave me," she squeals. "Jesus, take me too." She opens her door and throws herself sideways out of the car, somersaulting onto the road. She does not bounce like the lemons. She does not scatter like the sugar. She does not float like the bodies that are rising still, up, 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 drifting away like balloons. They are flawless, these floating bodies, unicolored, female. Their mouths are wide open, pink, toothless, in a silent scream. The road is slick, colorful, with yellow pulp, with white sparkles, red blood. You watch, hoping you'll see a soul rise in the west, like an omen. The world is not finished yet. Thank you. That was actually about, I read a story that a truck opened and all these blow-up dolls floated up, and a woman thought it was the rapture, and so she threw herself out of the car and died. So that was the inspiration, and I will read you 2 short ones. This next one is going to be published in Orchard this year. They do a beautiful hardcover book for any of you looking for markets. It's called Ferns. The ferns in your garden never asks for your pardon, doesn't crave your assistance or notice your existence. They'll consider quite robust till long after you are dust. They will witness your extinction with no mal or benediction. They are waiting for your ending, for your body is transcending, not to heaven or a savior, but to roots and fronds and spores. And the next one was also a finalist in the Gemini 2016 Poetry Awards. It's called The Arachnid Artist. Something small and dark made high art in low-slung crevices. The aerialist hung from her sticky web in perceptible rainbows, igniting phosphorine patterns. A shadow caught my eye, a fly twisting in the rainbow web. He was her latest conquest, the name of her game. She wrapped him in gossamer, a work of art, to see her manipulate wings and heart. Thank you. I can read another short one, but I don't know if it's 10 minutes. Should I read it? I'm going to.
Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead and read it.
Okay. It's very short. It's called Cats Not Dogs. Cats not dogs land on paws, enjoy the game of hide and seek without a shame and final squeak. Cats not dogs have expressions subtle as a leaf that hold obsessions, furtive as a thief. Cats not dogs run, then freeze, speak in volumes in a wink, stealthy as a breeze, cryptic as a sphinx. Cats not dogs, sneaky fluff, ambush hunter, holds tight the scruff, that quiet punter, wiggling ears behind a curtain, where she lurks is still uncertain. Cats not dogs, enjoy the play of hide and seek, the final squeak, don't kill too fast, save scream for last. Thank you very much.
I love it. You know, one of the best things about this stuff, Max, doing these kind of poetry events,
What's that?
but finding new poets that you fall in love with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have found a number of poets that I fell in love with tonight. So I think it's different when you hear somebody read their work as opposed to just reading it on the page. It comes alive so much more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who do we have next? And I will share some comments.
Amanda Worthington is a horror writer and speculative poet from the greater Kansas City area. She founded and serves as the chair for Horror in the Heartland, the Missouri-Kansas chapter of the Horror Writers Association. She is also the outreach director and manager of author educational opportunities at Crystal Lake Entertainment. Her novella in verse, No Quarter, was nominated for an Elgin Award, and she is governed by her two sassy cats, Apollo and Artemis.
I do think cats are a theme tonight.
Yes, yes, they are.
All right, let's hear from Amanda.
I was muted. Hey everyone, I'm Amanda Worthington, and tonight I just wanted to start off by reading a few poems from my novella in verse, No Quarter. So basically, the setup of this is that the main characters return to her home, kind of just not at peace, seeking to kind of make peace with the loss of her mother, and the kind of idea behind it is that there's this tree thing that is trying to connect with her to use her to commit these atrocities, and basically evil men need to die, and it's a thing about murder trees, and that's a way oversimplifying it, so I'm just going to start reading. So this chapter, I guess you would say, is called The Family Business. Our family business has always been trees, willows and birches and oaks and pines. Stately sycamores and lustrous maples, trees of every kind. They have always flourished in our care. I'm to use a screen to write, because paper just invites too much speculation. Whose? Okay, fine. But I like the feel of ink on sheet, like being reminded of the gift of trees. Messages delivered on their bleached skin have a special kind of bite, don't you think? Sigh. I came home without warning. Dad smiled and winced. The sun had burnt his cheeks. They were two flaking cherries as he drew me in for a hug. This was always Mom's thing, but he's trying. He asks how I've been as I asked to move back in. Jinx. He says yes, of course he does. I lie and say it's because of the cost of rent. I already had plans to go through Mom's things in the basement. It's good to be home. The floorboards moan out a greeting, settling in as my familiar weight passes over each plank. The bed in my old room is still made. I collapse into it, hear the springs sing. Their voices are rusty from disuse. Outside my window, an elm looms. A breeze blows then, and it's like the branches are trying to look in. It's just a tree, I think. But that night I dream of roots reaching deep and wake suddenly, doused in sweat, just knowing I sense some movement coming from underneath. Outside the elm looks sleepy. Outside the elm looks asleep as only trees can, but secretly it's watching. If I know one thing, I know trees. In the dark of midnight, its leaves look like teeth. I imagine pulling them all out just for the relief. Toothless things can't bite. or so I believe. And this one's called Memories Are Made at the Kitchen Table. A paperback dictionary lays unopened, its red cover bent and faded, awaiting her fingers, eager she thumbs through, seeking a word in the deep. A sea of entries awaits, restless like children in June. She bypasses desiccate and deduce, comes upon her prey at last, erstwhile, previous, before, poetic form. It is warm like the laughter they share. This is leagues beyond grotto, which she encountered at age 5 or 6, as it luxuriated in its natural atmosphere. Like the past, subterranean, not gone so much as buried. Her mother didn't know what it meant either. They looked it up together and spoke of words' power and our responsibility to use them well, wield them with purpose, recognize that with the wrong intent they can cut rather than service. Coming back to the present moment is like emerging from an infinite pool. A woman rifles through boxes, the bottoms sag under the weight of their contents. The quiet decay of the basement, home to kept but forgotten things, is peace from the hard act of living. She seeks the little dictionary. She's moved out, but she's never moved on. It must be here somewhere. She must be here somewhere. For the book and her mother are inextricably linked in her mind, erstwhile companions, you might say. Finding them means finding that part of herself that deserves to be brought up into the light, that part she needs to keep safe from the creeping roots that invite her to use her hurt to make others bleed. She hears them now, seeking blindly at her heart, shadows scraping bone. No, she breathes. Of all the words in the deep, this one is sharpest. This one resists, silences, brooks no argument. She is alone again, regains her composure, resumes her search. It's gotta be somewhere. This one is called The Wrong Kind of Growth. No doesn't work forever. No has an expiration date. Eventually, it sours in your mouth like old milk. She is crouched over another box when it takes her, roots twisting like earthen fingers. It crawls into her veins, ectopic, resisting her shape, reconfiguring her wiring, even as she recognizes all the parts she cannot possibly contain. She knows they are one without knowing how she knows, and together they grow. Future me is a tree, she finds herself thinking as she sends her roots far and wide, desperate for the nutrient rich soil of a receptive mind. And the future is ancient from the right perspective and impossible from the wrong one. And then she speaks to me, and then I speak to me. And the language is suddenly intuitive, unutterable, simple to the point of abstraction. I cannot reproduce it here, but my mother appears as the roots approach my heart, and I hear the voice I'd almost forgotten as they tear at my aorta. I could join her if I wanted. She'd succumb to the wrong kind of growth, and so could I. It's not that I couldn't. She is so near, close enough to touch, real enough that my breath might disturb her. It's that I wouldn't. Death has stalked me quietly, but I have too much left to do to die. And even my mother can't convince me otherwise. And then I have one more piece, if that's okay. This one I wrote for the Ladies of Horror Picture Prompt Challenge, and it's very different from what I just read. Very different. But can I get away with one more?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. This one is called Ground Zero. She sips and reflects, full-bodied, rich, with the subtlest notes of despair, smooth and elucidating, the perfect brew. She is one of those creatures for whom the making and drinking of coffee is a religious experience. She stares transfixed, eyes to the horizon where soon Earth's sun will appear. Destruction from far enough away is experienced as light. It makes things grow and mature and rot as it shines. Her kind take pleasure in disrupting this cycle. And she thinks of the screams at each grinding, how the spark goes out of them then until they are made dust, like the gods these walls contain. The elders mixed in the mortar and dissolved in the paint whisper their lone edict, eradicate. Earth is theirs to claim. So long has she traveled the stars that the very concept of terra firma is absurd. She came here because her programming dictated one thing, surviving. Arriving took days as her mind struggled to catch up to her body, and a cup was thrust into her hand, and she drank obediently when they demanded. She still drinks each morning, so they will not know what she is planning. Tires on gravel, she hears the car door open and the rhythmic crunching as the boots press the rock flat. A tourist, tall, dark, strong. Even from the porch, she can smell his cologne. She imagines the aroma that will waft as he is poured. She rises to greet him. Long live Bellamort. I trust the elders are safe. Her mouth falls open at his words. She could have sworn she had been the last. Almost an entire Earth decade has passed. An adherent, come to profess his faith. Collecting herself, she utters her line, the script flashing crimson in her brain. Come in, then, weary traveler, and speak to the walls the elders' law, and we shall see if you drink the fallen or join them in their thrall to Belmort's supremacy. The stranger nods slowly in the growing light as secretly she thinks, either way, I'll burn it all tonight. The day is darkening when he emerges, shaken, his eyes speaking what his voice cannot. I drank. She had almost forgotten that pain. She reaches out, takes his hand, unscripted. We'll succeed where the humans failed. The elders shall tell us soon what we must do. Drinking is the initiation for what comes next. The stranger looks perplexed. She sees her lie did not land, she thinks. But he sighs and a smile comes slowly to his lips. And for this wisdom I give thanks. He bows, turns on his dusty heel, yawns deep. The day's brought awakening, now he's ready for sleep. She understands. The matches are a weight against her thigh as his footfalls fade. She seeks her ancestors to say goodbye. They must chart their own path now. Death is too steep a price for assured salvation, she decides, even as doubt creeps in, but from the right perspective. Is death not light? Stop. She drowns the voice in kerosene and watches as the past ignites, trusts in the process, yearns for the moment when it will all be dust. And that's what I have. Thank you.
All right. The Chihuahua is trying to frame me. It's like, sure, you're having Chihuahua issues. That was gorgeous. That last poem took such a turn that I was not expecting to.
Yeah, I like that last one.
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah. This is amazing. Thank you for reading, Amanda. This whole thing has been amazing with the poets that we're getting and the poets that are reading and the poems that we're hearing. And I'm feeling super inspired. How about you? Like you just told me that, so I'm copying your idea.
Yes, I am also feeling inspired, and it's wonderful to see so many poets and so much support from some chapter heads here, and and so much support for dark poetry as well.
Awesome. Up next, we have Tanya Chen. Tanya Chen is a Chinese-Mexican queer writer. Their work was selected for Brave New World Anthology by Tenebris Press and has also appeared in Unfettered Hexes by Neon Hemlock, Apparition Lit, Strange Horizons, Pleiades Magazine, Baffling Magazine, Long Leaf Review, The Dread Machine, among others. I Know Space and Time published Tanya at one time. They are a graduate of the Clarion West Novella Boot Camp Workshop of 2021, Clarion West Workshop 2023, and a recipient of the HWA's Dark Poetry Scholarship. Currently, they are assistant editor at Uncanny Magazine and can be found on Twitter at Archestrate. I'm going to share that in the link. And the other link here, I will share that rather than try to read the link. But yes, those links will be in the chat. And now, if you're ready, Tanya, let's hear from Tanya.
Oh my God, this is really dark. Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. Thank you for organizing this. I have two poems to read, and one of them was in Space and Time, and it's one of my babies. I mean, I guess all poets say that all poems are their babies, but I have a special love for this one, and I am just really happy to share it with you tonight. A testimony to the Dead Sea. When I leave, I shall be the last of those who touched feathers and wings. The memory of plumage and skin is deceptively soft, unlike the plummeting of bodies hitting the waves. Before the scent of damp damaged foundations of stone was the bile and half-rotted food in my innards. You cannot go into the sea carrying the land. You must empty until the sea is more mirror than body of water, the miasmic void, green fog that serves now as sky. The particles of salt and plastic and metal waste surround a dead palm tree in a lone island. The last after Antarctica became Atlantis. Myth, dream, rumor. The shift and scratching of spider birdlings with 4 legs of flesh and 4 of metal tear into the fabric and mask of my suit, peeled back now by the serrated edge of their metallic legs, where feathers could grow but choose not to. Our bodies breaking on the surface erase signals of this pained war of attrition as we retreat to no man's land, witnessing the symmetric decimation of all of those who try to survive the ruinous sea tonight. Yeah, that's one. And I love that one. And yeah. And the second one is called A Toast from Santissima Muerte, and it came out in Strange Horizons recently. Um, and I'll read it first and I'll give a little bit of context to it. Um, Cempasúchil flowers bloom for every candle lit in my name. My harvest triples with each turning season. The faithful gather beneath my sweet, sickle-shaped smile. Their wishes are simple, birthed from hopelessness. Those you turned away with your prejudice, raising the bar so none but the rich can meet it. That is why the roses no longer grow at your feet. That is why you've come to me, isn't it? Your mouth parts, spitting white ash smoke. It slithers upwards, a fitting shroud to match my wedding dress. This wish is too vast, for you and for me. What about that woman who wept on her knees, asking for her daughter's soul? You did not listen, so she came to me, asking to satisfy that spiritual violence imposed on her soul by injustice. Sometimes they bleach the same tired trees and burn down my altars, but my harvest grows with skin and ink, blood and smoke. I turn none away, no matter their sins. They're not looking for salvation. A lexicon of crimes they do in my name, cradled in my arms like a babe. Beneath lost skies and wayward faithful, even you, Virgencita de Guadalupe, come to me and partake in the offerings. And yeah, that's it. And some cultural context for it. Santa Muerte is kind of like a new sort of saint, and she's become very popular because she promises retribution rather than forgiveness and healing. So she's kind of displaced a little bit Santa Guadalupe, who used to be the main sort of person that people used to pray to for forgiveness, healing, for good luck. And Santa Muerte has kind of come in, and she doesn't promise any of that. She promises to give you what you want, but in a very sort of dark way. And she's very popular among the narcos and the criminals and those that are disenfranchised from the Catholic Church here. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for having me. Please donate to the Horror Writers Association. I've benefited a lot from the Dark Poetry Scholarship. I've been able to take classes, buy books. So yeah, no, please help out. It really does make a difference. Thank you so much.
This is fantastic. This is absolutely a treat to get to sit here and listen to all this fantastic poetry and kind of be like poetry God in a way, because we're like popping people up, popping people down, like, who shall read? Have thou'st pleased us? Okay, maybe that's too much. We're going to get complaints now. Max said it. I didn't know. He's the executive director.
Yeah. Well, at the end of this, there's a poetry battle. So,
Yeah, we did start this by saying we were going to have a poetry battle. So I'm still waiting for that.
tomorrow. That's what you're doing tomorrow. That's the
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a battle between me and you after this.
Yeah. So our final poet for tonight is Emma Billis O'Hara. Writes us and who writes speculative fiction and poems inspired by queerness, trauma, emotional connection, and air experiences as a geoscientist. And without further ado, let's get into our some more our last bit of poetry for the evening.
All right.
All right, can everybody hear me? Okay. Hey, I'm Billy. This is my first poetry reading, so I'm excited to be here listening to everyone's wonderful words and have the opportunity to share a few of my own. Apologies in advance for any background noise. I'm outside because I have a 4-year-old. All 5 of my poems are really short, and they're works in progress for the Author's Journey course. None of these are published, and some are still works in progress, but I hope you enjoy. This first poem was inspired by the TV show Supernatural, where characters salt and burn the bones of vengeful spirits to stop them. Bone fire. Snap, split spook spine on your shin. Clack, cursed bones ringed in singed stone. Psh, sprinkle, salt, butane, straw. Shh, sulfur, match strokes the jaw. Sizzle sear skin, flick the flame in. Whoosh, hell heat, final defeat. Crack, crispy marrow swells sweet. Pop, burst the wicked white. Second poem. My siblings were buried like goldfish, and this one, content warning for miscarriage. Radiation sick, mom dumped my oldest sister down the soiled toilet. Her body to blame, she closed red-rimmed eyes to flush her second child too. She tells me the tale, wailing mantras of, they're gone. I do not agree. Kneeling on cold tile, I light candles on the rim and pray to porcelain. Dank death gods listen, twin spirits gurgle back up like bloody sewage. Don't cry, mother dear, I soothe as I fish for flesh, plunk souls in wet womb. My found siblings float in the bowl of mom's belly as I feed them flakes. Third poem. Cement. I coat my lashes in your ashes, soot subsumes salt sorrowful sea, gritty cold glut of gray glue, laves lids vitreously. Slurried slits cured shut, spurn love anew. My eyes see only you. And this next one is one of a few I'm writing for what will be a mostly smutty dark poetry collection. I've got a few poems based around old British slang for like genitals and sex stuff. Gamma-hoosh, awesome word. Anyway, Christmas box is one of those terms, similar to box, which is slang for genitals, particularly labia. But Green's Dictionary of Slang also says vagina. Anyway, look into the Christmas box. See what I am made of, you eager man-child, slavering for a peek of the tissue-fleshed present you stole. Your fingers ruck my wrappings, twist my trappings. I am silent when you shake me. Dig your thumbs in pleated pucker, purple paper slit. Dent my shape, pry off my tape. Tear me bare with ragged nail scrape. Your tongue poking index worms, pink prying between bare lips. Hook my corrugated wrinkles, spread me like origami goatsy, perineum pinned back. Body a dead butterfly skin-bowed gift, blooming ribbons, sloughing sheets from cardboard bones that crack. Open cavity steeped in deep hollows, my shadowed corners stretch wide to swallow men whole. Look into the box, see what I am made of. And the last one I have a hard time reading without laughing, but I'm going to try. Love is bending over a pneumatic press, begging to get fucked. Please don't crust my chest between the plates. And that's it. Thank you for having me.
That is fantastic. And I think I need to be educated by Billy on some of the language for genitals. I mean, I really feel this needs to happen because this is like all stuff I did not know.
Yeah. I'm all for that kind of poetry. I mean, my latest poetry collection is a cosmic horror homoerotic poetry collection. So,
Yes. Yeah. And your poetry book made me blush when I read it. So, and I felt like maybe people shouldn't look over my shoulder while I do that. But I also felt like that about a number of, these are my favorite writers. If I'm reading your work and I worry that somebody's going to see me reading your work, that's really a good sign for me. If I'm worried that I'm going to get a complaint for reading your work, then that's good. And I would be complained. There would be many people that would complain about me reading your book or listening to Billy's poems just now. That is good.
Well, this has been fantastic. And Angela and I are actually maybe considering doing this just because, maybe not tomorrow, but this has been wonderful, hearing everybody's poems, and it's wonderful to see the state of dark poetry, and that there's so much richness in the horror community with all of this wonderful poetry out there. And again, we are it's towards the middle of August already, which is terrifying. It's already in the middle of August already. So please feel free to spread the word. This is going to be our last push to get some donations to support the scholarship program. As you've heard, many of the poets here have benefited from our scholarship program, and it is our hope to continue to support writers and poets and everyone else. You do not have to be a member to receive the scholarships. So please give and support to the HWA scholarship program.
Yep, I echo that, and yeah, I really have nothing else to say. I just kind of want to sit and digest some poetry now.
Well, this recording will be made available to anyone who just wants to come back and listen to this. So, and with that, I think we will close out for tonight. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. One of the comments. Yes, this was recorded, so everyone will be able to watch these and listen to these wonderful poems over and over again. So, thank you, everybody, for attending, and until the next Halloween in July fundraiser, which will be next July and August. So, thank you so much.
Misleading title, I just want to say.
Thank you.
All right, bye, everybody. Enjoy more poetry. And yeah, we will let you know if we do decide to do this again, but it's looking pretty likely that we will just start doing this for fun. So, and see everybody later.